It takes every style of player to make a Major League Baseball team. And the Toronto Blue Jays are taking a second chance on a player that doesn't fit the mold of the modern era, but he looks like a throwback, a kind of a combination of Greg Luzinski had a child with Babe Ruth's great great granddaughter. And Daniel Vogelbach, he was well worth what he did today, May 19th, in a big victory against Tampa Bay, which stopped Toronto from going 17 games under 500 for their worst record over the last several seasons. Now, this is Vogelbach's second tour of duty in Toronto. He had a double single and a home run today, almost hit for the cycle, scored 3 runs, but first came to major prominence, really major prominence, playing with the Mets for a couple of years. Now, he's 31 years of age, and I think Toronto should use him more often because he has showed he can play with teams as diverse as the Mariners, Brewers, Pirates, and Mets. Now, born December 17, 1992, and of all places, North Fort Myers, Florida, which is a big baseball region of the state. Again, born and raised there, he attended Bishop Verot High School and played varsity basketball. You wouldn't think someone that large would play basketball, but he did. Now, he passed on his commitment to play college baseball for the University of Florida when he was drafted in the second round in the 2011 MLB draft by the Cubs. After spending multiple seasons in the Cubs farm system, he was traded to the Mariners in July 2016 and made his MLB debut with them 2 months later. Now, between 16 and 18, he received sporadic playing time at the major league level, as was frequently sent down to the minor leagues, or the Bruce Boudreau of this decade. In 2019, he played a career-high 144 games and received an All-Star selection for his contributions at first base and DH. After starting the shortened 2020 season, batting .94, Vogelbach was designated for assignment by the Mariners. He played a brief 2-game stint with the Blue Jays before he was waived, finished out the 2020 season with the Brewers, and remaining with the team for the 2021 season, after which he was non-tendered. Vogelbach then signed with the Pirates as free agent in 2022 and was traded to the Mets midway through the season. The Mets non-tendered him after the 2023 campaign and then signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays in February 2024. He's getting more at-bats in recent days, but mostly because majority of Toronto's hitters can't hit right now. I think 4 or 5 of them are batting less than 250. Now, again, he committed himself to play college baseball at the University of Florida. As a senior in high school, get this, batted .551 with 9 home runs and was a News Press All-Area Baseball Player of the Year. At the time, he was listed as 5'11", weighing 285, but I think he was more towards 300. So I think he's one of the largest players in the modern era. Now, when the Cubs selected him in the second round of the 2011 MLB draft, he made his pro debut with the Arizona League Cubs. In 6 games, he had a .292 average with 1 homer and 24 at-bats. In 2012, Vogelbach started the season with the Arizona League Cubs and was promoted to the Boise Hawks during the season. At the time, he weighed over 300 pounds. He finished the season with a slash of .322, .410, .641, with 17 home runs and 62 runs batted in, over 245 at-bats in 61 games, and blasting mostly homers to center right field. In 2013, he started the season with the Kane County Cougars and was promoted to the Daytona Cubs near the end of the campaign. That year, he had 19 home runs in 131 games, batting .284. Now, prior to 2014, the season, he lost more than 30 pounds to help improve his defense and escape being labeled a designated hitter only. In 2014, he batted .268 for the Daytona Cubs. After the season, Cubs added him to the 40-man roster. He did play for the legendary Tennessee Smokies of the Class AA Southern League in 2015 and began the 2016 season with the Iowa Cubs of the PCL. Now, on July 20, 2016, as part of a numbers game, they traded him and Paul Blackburn to the Mariners for Mike Montgomery and Jordan Preece. Eric Longenhagen wrote in Fangraphs, he's not a good athlete and he has issues with range, footwork, flexibility, and throwing accuracy. He'll make the occasional spectacular-looking effort-based play, but hasn't shown enough technical refinement in his 5 pro seasons to convince scouts he can play a position. He has a complete lack of defense or base running value. Well, who's playing in the Major League Baseball? The Mariners then assigned him to the Tacoma Rainiers in the PCL and promoted the majors on September 12th after the Rainiers were eliminated for the PCL postseason. He made his major league debut later that night as a pinch hitter against the Angels, grounding in an FC in his first at-bat. The next night, he got his first start and first hit of his Major League Baseball career, recording a single to right in his third plate appearance. In 2016 in the Major Leagues, he batted .83 in 8 games. Now in 2017, while playing for the Tacoma Rainiers, he hit .290 with 17 homers and 83 RBIs. Vogelbach also participated in the AAA Home Run Derby. He made it all the way to the final round before finally losing to Bryce Brentz of the Pawtucket Red Sox. In August 2017, he was called up to the major leagues. He was used for the remainder of the season as a pinch hitter and backup first baseman, as the Mariners already had Yonder Alonso and Danny Valencia covering first base duties. In MLB during 2017, he only batted .214 and 28 at-bats. In 2018, he hit .207 for Seattle and 87 at-bats. Now, when he made the Mariners' 2019 opening day roster, the numbers went through the roof. Although he only batted .208, he had 30 homers and 76 RBIs. He was throwing the highest percentage of curveballs of all American League batters at 13.2% and swung at the lowest percentage of all pitchers of all Major League batters. Doesn't strike out very often. He's got a good eye to the plate. Vogelbach did represent the Mariners in the 2019 MLB All-Star contests. Now, for some reason, on August 19, 2020, he was designated for assignment by the Mariners. I guess they probably pretty well gave up on him, and he began the season batting 5 for 53 in 18 games as a DH and pinch hitter. Overall, in parts of 5 seasons with Seattle, he batted .196 with 36 homers and 95 RBIs in 223 games. Now, when the Toronto Blue Jays took a short week-long look at him, he was traded to Toronto for cash considerations. He was hitless for Toronto in 4 at-bats with a walk and 2 strikeouts. If you blinked and missed it, I saw one game he played in, and he didn't even look like Vogelbach. He was like 40 pounds lighter than you last saw him. On September 1st, 2020, he was designated for assignment. Now, on September 3rd, he was claimed of waivers by the Brewers. In 19 games with the Brewers, he batted .328 with 4 homers, playing 16 games as DH, 2 at first, and 1 as a pinch hitter. Now, he returned to the Brewers for 2021. On June 23rd, he was placed on the 10-day injured list with a hamstring strain, and then was transferred to 60-day injury list on August 22nd. He was activated on September 1st. For the 2021 season, he slashed .219 with 9 home runs and 24 RBIs in 93 games, playing 59 games at first, 36 games as a PH, and 3 games as a DH. When he played first base, his arm strength was in the bottom 1% of the major leagues. On November 30th, he was non-tendered by the Brewers, making him a free agent. Now, he signed a 1-year deal with Pittsburgh in 2022, and he hit his first triple of his career off for Keegan Thompson of the Cubs. On 75 games for the Pirates, 12 homers, .228, 34 RBIs, 68 games at DH, 10 as a pinch hitter, and 5 at first base. Now, he became a major prominence in 2022 because he joined the Mets, and I think he later did a couple of MLB commercials. When the Pirates traded Vogelbach to the Mets for Colin Holderman, on August 3rd, 2022, he hit his first home run as a Met, a grand slam off Nationals reliever Jordan Weems in Nationals Park, becoming the 11th Mets player to hit the grand slam as his first homer with its squad. 22 for the Mets, he batted .255 as a DH and pinch hitter. His sprint speed was again the bottom 2% of the major leagues. In the postseason, he was hitless in 7 at-bats. Now, on November 6th, the Mets exercised their option with him for the 2023 season. In last year's campaign, mostly as a DH and pinch hitter, batted .233. For the second season in a row, his sprint speed was in the bottom 2% of the major leagues, and it was non-tendered November 17, 2023. Now, when the Blue Jays selected his contract on March 28th, it was after a 6-week tryout that he was going to be there, and he did make the roster. So he can kind of do it all in a certain way, but he can play defense. So it could work as a DH. You can play him 30 to 60 games. I basically believe this guy's got a lot of talent, and I think he could have a good role to play with Toronto because you do need some power off the bench. I'd rather have him than some of the other players. Now, currently, he's listed at 270 pounds, and when he was talking to Hazel May after the game today, to me, it looks a little bit lower than that. Like I said, I don't think weight is the problem. I think that basically he just needs a team that believes in him. So you can't play 9 years in the major leagues unless you got some talent. But what that 2019 season showed me, with the right thing with the right power. Now, what the 2019 season showed me as well, he lost his mind at the plate. He struck out 149 times, but he walked 92 times. So if he can keep the strikeouts down, and just seems he's ebbing and flowing. Some season it's pretty well equal, like what he did in 2021 with Milwaukee. But let's put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, okay? 80 home runs in 589 major league games. So you look at a basic season, he's going to get 20 home runs, 65 RBIs. He's never going to be an everyday player. But like I said, he's interesting to watch because the New York Mets season last year, 13 homers, 48 RBIs, and less than half playing time. It's quite interesting. So you gotta decide in this life if you're going to have non-starters. What are you going to need? Well, he's power off the bench, and I think he can hit you 5 to 10 home runs. That could be 5 and 10 more home runs than Bijou is going to hit. We've always had a problem with power in Toronto since Donaldson and Carcio and Bautista has left. You got to have a little bit of home run power, and he's a personable guy. I mean, you saw how eloquently he spoke after the game today, and I think like I said, he's very glad to be in the major leagues, and he does have postseason batting experience. He got all the way to the LDS with Milwaukee in 2021, so he's got playoff experience over 3 seasons, so you need that as well. But like I said, he's not going to play the field he's not going to unseat Vladimir Guerrero. So in a doubleheader situation or a late inning, pinch hitting situation, be very good to use him. Like I said, this is my personal opinion, okay? If Alexander Kirk is having a bad day at the plate, put Vogelbach as a pinch hitter, then put in Jansen. Or put him as a DH and maybe put Springer DH and give him a little bit of time off later in the game. I think you should play him at DH 20 to 40 times a season. Just give him a chance. Because 10 home runs is going to get you more wins than a bunch of slap singles and hitting 280. But like I said, I like the guy because he's a throwback. Greg Luzinski first came to mind when I saw this guy. And you know what he called you look at Matt Stairs, okay? I'm not saying there's any comparison to Matt Stairs because Matt is just, he played for so many teams in so many years. He was at the elite level for every team he played for over 30 years. But I think we need him. And like I said, you're not going to spend much on him. And until you get somebody to replace him, let him do what he can do. I mean, he's not if he can hit 240, he can hit 10 home runs. That's in my personal opinion. You give him 100 at bats, he might get 10 home runs. That's the way I look at it. So I mean, what else you going to do? Toronto won the game because of him today, and you gave him a chance to play, and he won the game. Are you going to down him that? Give him a chance. And like I said, until whatever time the minor league provides home run power, Toronto doesn't have much home run power in the minor leagues ready to come up. We went from Donaldson and Bautista and Carcio and everybody else on the team could hit home runs. Look what we have now. I think we're hitting 200 and 240 home runs. We're lucky to hit 150 this year. And if Vogelbach can give us some of that, like I said, give the guy a chance. And like I said, that's a juicy number in Seattle because he did most of his damage in the American League, and that's maybe what we're going to need. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the second run with Toronto with Daniel Vogelbach. I'm glad you're giving more of a week's chance. He's 2 months with Toronto, and I say, come June, don't cut him. Try to work on his conditioning and work on his interior play. He might have 20 home runs in a season available down the road. Anything's possible. And don't forget, never give up on a home run hitter because you can't teach homers. He's got another 5 years to go. Thanks for listening. Bye.